Are you tired of backing over 1.5 or over 2.5 goals and finding that no early goal is completely ruining your whole plan? Today, I'm going to reveal a way that you can profit from tight, low-scoring matches using the back under 1.5 goals strategy. If you don't follow these steps, you'll keep bleeding money on unpredictable games. Stick with me because I'm about to walk you through exactly how to find the winning selections step by step. At Betfair Trading Community, we have spent over a decade helping people to build their strategies for football trading, and some people have become very profitable in doing so. And at time after time, we've seen new traders though fall into the same trap, and that is this: chasing goals instead of recognizing when they're unlikely to come. Okay, so nearly every strategy someone comes up with invariably is an over strategy looking for goals. Nothing wrong with that. You can do very well looking for goals. But how about you actually look at the other side of the market? You know, if you're someone who's sitting there going, do you know what? I'm always losing money because I'm backing overs and it's always unders. Well, if that's the case, you might make some money backing unders using that strategy. I mean, think about it. If you're doing that badly off it, then surely if you flip and reverse it, it could do well. So in just a moment, I'm going to show you one mistake most people make when choosing under 1.5 football matches and how our strategy completely avoids this mistake. If you miss this, you will keep picking the wrong games and wondering why it never works. And that's never a nice place to be as a Betfair trader. Okay, here's how we're going to break it down. Step 1, the data foundation. You must get this right first. Step 2, the free filters that instantly cut out bad matches. And step 3, a surprising stat that quietly signals the best under 1.5 goals picks. And then I'll show you the biggest trap traders fall into and how our BetfairTradingCommunity.com software makes it almost impossible for you to fall for that trap. Okay, let's get into this deep dive and let's get into step 1, which is starting with the right data. Step 1 is knowing which leagues and teams actually support under 1.5 goal trading. If you skip this, you'll waste hours watching chaotic end-to-end matches that are never suitable for any kind of under selection. But if you master this, you'll only spend time on matches that have the real potential for a slow, low-scoring outcome. Now, here's one of the beautiful things about the Betfair Trading Community software. I'm not going to get into the software too much today because I really want to teach you how to kind of avoid these pitfalls and what I've learned over the past 10 years of trading unders. But inside the software, you can actually filter your selections by leagues. So you can choose which leagues you want to include in your selections, and that will give you a short list of matches that are suitable for the leagues that don't have a ton of goals. I mean, if you want to look at leagues that don't have a lot of goals, obviously you can look at leagues like Brazil, Argentina, the French second division a lot of the time. There's quite a few leagues that will come to mind, right? But the key is you've got to get the odds right as well. It's no good going, well, yeah, I think this Brazilian match is going to be unders. Hang on, what's the price? And then the under 1.5 price is 2.0, which is really high because, you know, ultimately it's unlikely that that's going to be a value price in that situation. We know that over 1.5 goal odds are usually really short. So we should be able to lay over 1.5 goals at quite short odds. And that's kind of where you're looking to profit from this strategy in particular. So look at which leagues actually do support under 1.5 goals quite well. And it may not necessarily be that they're all super low scoring. It might just be that actually, you know, maybe you found that there's certain games in certain leagues, like let's look at the Dutch second division, where there's loads of goals in usual, but there might be teams that don't get as many goals. And then you actually could lay over 1.5 goals at really short odds in that situation. Now, I'm talking a little bit more in depth than I perhaps should, especially for people who are newer traders, but I just want to get your juices flowing and you to start to think about value from a very early stage of looking into any strategy that you do. So, like I say, you can filter these leagues on Betfair Trading Community. Let's look at step 2 now. Use these 3 filters. I'm going to get into these. And these are the 3 filters you're going to want to look to add to any kind of software strategy that you create in our software so that you can help get the actual selections that shorten that list for your day's trading. Number one, obviously, low goal averages for the home and away teams. Look, if these teams are scoring a lot, that's going to be a problem. If these teams are conceding a lot, that's also going to be a problem. They're areas you really want to look at. When you're building your strategy, look at those things. Number two, you want some 0-0 and 1-0 results in recent matches. Not just overall, by the way. Some people just put overall on the filter, then 0-0, 1-0, whatever, 10%, 20% of the time. The problem is, you want it from both teams. We want to know that both teams have these low scoring matches so that they can kind of match up in that respect. You don't want a situation where one team has low scoring matches and the other team actually has quite high scoring matches, but it evens out that, hey, this is a borderline selection and you're not sure what to do. In that case, a lot of the time, you're not going to want to trade it. You want to find two teams that don't like to score a lot of goals. And then thirdly, and this is really important for any unders trading, look that there's not an early goals trend between these teams. Check that they aren't scoring a lot in the first half, that they're having a lot of 0-0s at half time, because ultimately you could then get out of your trade. Look, a lot of the time, if you're backing under 1.5 goals, you're not going to win as a straight bet, right? Because we know that over 2.5 goals happens a lot of the time. So yeah, sure, you could run it as a straight bet, but you're going to win now and then. You might make a profit in the long term, but it's going to be quite stressful unless you're actually willing to accept losing your stake quite often, because the bet will lose a lot of the time. However, if you're trading and hoping there's not an early goal, that's when a lot of people make money out of under 1.5 goals, because they trade it. And then if it's 0-0 after 15 minutes, they can green up for a nice profit. 0-0 after 30 minutes, even bigger chunk. And 0-0 at half time, well, they're going to be looking at a really nice profit in that situation. So check that there's no early goal trends. So I'll go through those three again, because I think this is really important. Perhaps the most important thing in the video. You're going to want, number one, low goal averages. Number two, 0-0 and 1-0 results in recent matches. And number three, no early goals trend. Traders who fail at under 1.5 goals often miss these things. And some of them may seem obvious to you, but putting all three together and combining them is really powerful. They look at odds instead of patterns, and that's how they lose their edge. So make sure you're considering both. And when you do it right, you'll immediately cut down your shortlist to the best possible candidates of games that day. Okay, and that's the key to doing this. Like I say, we're already thinking about odds and value. That's something that should always be overarching. Any strategy, any trading you do. Sometimes we get comments on video, and it's like, I didn't mention value and odds. And it's like, I think sometimes it just feels like it's a given, right? That everyone should be thinking about that. But of course, I realize actually there's a lot of new traders who don't understand that that should kind of be what's governing all your trading. The reality is we've done a hell of a lot of content on that over the years as well. So if there's something you want to look into more deeply, because I'm not going to go into that deeply today, please go and look back at some of the older YouTube videos that we've done on value and odds. Let's get on to step 3 now. This is number 3. Spot the silent signal. Spot the silent signal. Finally, track shot conversion rates, or what we call danger to goal ratio. High shot volume, and it doesn't matter if teams can't convert. This is a bit of a linchpin, because without it you'll get tricked by games that look tight until one goal opens up the floodgates. Implement it and you'll find games that stay tight even when they heat up. So this is kind of a bit of an interesting one here, and perhaps maybe again this might be a bit in depth for newer traders, but we want to look for teams that don't have a really high conversion rate on their shots, and ideally we don't want them to be having tons of shots anyway, but look at that conversion rate. And again, you can do this in the software itself, because what will be key here is that you're getting teams that, yeah, even if the game's fairly lively, they're still not scoring a lot of goals on those chances. And that's something you're going to want to look at, again, if you're trading under 1.5 goals. So that's a really important step that I think perhaps a bit more an advanced step, but something that's well worth looking at. So let's get into some of the obstacles now, because I want to get into this before we finish. You might be thinking, but what if there's an early goal? Doesn't that kill the trade? Well, here's how to handle that. You only risk what you're prepared to lose. Again, another kind of overarching mantra that should always be there when you're trading on Betfair, and with proper entry timing. Say 5 to 10 minutes in, you've reduced that risk already. Okay, so let's say you want to enter under 1.5 goals at the start of a match. Plan when you're going to exit that trade. Plan your obstacles that could happen. You know, what could happen is there could be a goal in the first 5 minutes. What are you going to do? Because another goal kills your trade completely. Do you take the loss and move on? Or are you willing to let that run a little while and try and get it back to where it was? That's a decision you've got to make, but that's a decision you've got to make before you do it. And that's what I've learned over the past 10 years on under 1.5 goals trading, is that you have to make that plan beforehand. Remember the trap that I mentioned earlier, that's the biggest trap that traders fall into on this strategy? It's trading under 1.5 goals without a process. Okay? This is always just, it's horrible when people tell me, oh, I just entered a trade and I had no idea what to do next. You should always plan for all the outcomes. Look, there's not a ton of outcomes in football. You're either going to get an early goal or you're not, right? That's kind of two outcomes for your trade that you can have there and then. Now, you might want to add in, well, what if there's a red card as another outcome? And then plan. Well, if there's a goal, I'm going to exit no matter what. Okay, fine. Make sure you do that then, right? Make sure you stick to that plan. Don't change it willy-nilly and on the fly. You never want to be trading. See, I feel like a lot of people on Betfair, maybe not traders, but perhaps more the traditional gambler types that you might think of, they're thinking about, oh, I want to trade with the vibes. It's not got the right vibes for me. It's not got the great look. It's not exactly what I wanted it to be. And I feel like the key with that is to make sure that we are trading on this stuff, making sure that we've got our process and we've got it set and we've got it ready. Again, you can bypass this trap completely by using the BetfairTradingCommunity.com software. You can set up a strategy. It gives you your selections each day, gives you your shortlist. You can then research that shortlist, decide, well, maybe from those 10 games, I'm only going to trade these 5 because there's reasons that I might try and avoid the other games, okay? But the important thing is you've already started to implement a plan and you're not getting your selections based on gut feeling or vibes. So don't fall into that trap. It's a massive one. Again, use BetfairTradingCommunity.com if you want, because that will help you bypass it completely. So what I want to do now is a little recap on what we've learned, because I think we've learned a lot today and it's really good stuff. So let's look at step 1. Use the right data filters, starting with league filters and team goal averages. So really start to think about those. And again, you can add in an odds filter as well. I think that's something that should be overarching on any strategy anyone creates, is looking for odds and value. Number 2, apply the free filters that we mentioned earlier. Again, if you didn't hear them, go back and watch it. I did mention them twice to instantly eliminate the weak picks. Number 3, watch for low shot to goal conversion, because that can be your hidden edge. If you've got teams that do have some shots, but they really just don't convert them, that could be the kind of team you want to be trading on this on, because it means that even if there is some shots, even if the game's a little bit lively to start with, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be able to convert those chances. And in fact, chances are they won't, because looking at the historical data suggests that they don't. So as promised, here's the final quick tip. Avoid teams with penalty takers in form, okay? I've found that one of the killers of an under 1.5 goals trade can be that a penalty early on will destroy your trade. There's a lot of lower scoring teams and matches where there's not really much that happens in the half, right? In the first half, except maybe 1 or 2 penalty shouts, because the teams aren't looking like scoring any other way. So I've found that actually it's penalties a lot of the time that can really hurt you. So if you've got teams where you go, oh, if they get a penalty, he's almost certainly going to score it, that is a hidden danger. And most traders will never think about that, okay? And again, this is quite an in-depth video going a bit deeper than usual perhaps, but it's really important to think about that. And look at strikers that are in form as well. Check, if you're seeing matches and the star striker's playing and he scores all the time, that is a concern, okay? But now you've got the framework. You've got the framework to find high probability under 1.5 goals. So here's the last part of it. If you're serious about stopping guesswork and finally building profitable football strategies, here's what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Loads and loads of free content for you to feast on. I know loads of you go back and watch all the old videos, and that's great. I know a lot of you guys don't. Go and do that. If you like the channel, if you like what we're doing, do that. Click the link in the description to try out Betfair Trading Community's football software. If you're not already a member, get involved. It's 50% off the first month at the moment, and that's just, there's no excuse now, is there, not to give it a try. Invest in yourself as a trader, give yourself half a chance. We'll help you build your own strategy. We'll actually give you a strategy to start with as well, based on the criteria that you give us, step by step, and we will even help you, show you how to test it, with the live stats and filters, and we will give you a tracking spreadsheet as well. But don't keep trading blind, okay? That's one thing I'll always recommend you. Go and get some help from other traders. Join the traders who know exactly why they're placing each bet, and try and learn about why it is that they do what they do. We always love to teach people that, and I feel like a lot of kind of betting or trading services, they don't teach you any of that stuff. They just try and tell you, oh, bet on this, bet on this. And it's like, why? Well, I think it's good. Yeah, but why? What's the process? I don't want to tell you that. That's my edge, things like that. So we like to actually share that and help people and help you learn to trade properly on Betfair. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. The back under 1.5 strategy can be the difference between a calm, profitable weekend or a string of successful losing trades. We've shown you the path now, so it's up to you. Take action, build your plan, and hopefully we'll see you inside the community. But anyway, regardless, have a great week, and I'll be back with another video very soon.